Welcome, huge movie fanatic Nate, stopping on by. This time coming your way with a video, which I think is a first for this channel, something that happened just a few nights ago, and I was like, I didn't really think a lot about it until I told Beth about it, and then it evolved in my mind into something that is kind of interesting. So I'm like, you know what, I'm going to actually do a video about this because I guess it's kind of movie related. So, recently, I don't know how recently, I guess throughout, I don't know, the last 20 years or more, maybe all my life. No, it wasn't really all my life. Maybe in my adulthood, maybe in my 20s and beyond, I've been known to have like nightmares of scary images. I remember having one, basically, if you've seen like Halloween 6 or The Curse of Michael Myers, there's like the scene with that woman in the Myers house and Michael's standing there. Like, I can remember having dreams, like just nightmares of like scenes, and it's just like, it's not, if in the context of with the imagery of what you're seeing, it's really not that scary, but like it's just like, it's just like a shot. I look and see Michael standing there, and I'll be like, and I'll do that in real life, and I'll wake myself up, like screaming, like, and I'll be like, I'll wake up and I'll be like, Jesus Christ, So it's more like, although like Michael standing there on the set of, Curse of Michael Myers really isn't that scary. I mean, dreams are weird in a sense where it's like, it's not about the imagery, it's about the feeling that I'm feeling in the dream. And the dream, even though the image might not be that scary, the dream has me feel that it's scary. So that's the kind of like nightmares I've been known to have over the years. Are they a result of being a huge fan of horror movies and watching horror movies for decades of my life, or is it a result of just kind of the life that I've lived, and the just childhood drama and childhood this and that? Maybe it's a combination of both, but yeah, it's been something that maybe not too often, but every now and then I'll wake myself up. Another thing is like, and it goes into with this case, in this situation, where with this dream I'm going to tell you about, where if I don't like yell myself awake, I'll breathe myself awake, where it's like, they'll be like, it'll start out like scary and then it'll kind of escalate. Maybe something's either getting closer to me or I'm getting closer to it, but my breathing will increase, and it'll be like, until it's like I wake up and I'm conscious of just the tail end of that heavy breathing, and I'll just be like, and that's what happened in this case. Basically, very short, kind of, I guess, dream/nightmare. Was I was just like, in my abode, looking down the hallway at the not the living room, the bedroom, and I just like a figure. It's kind of like if you've seen Signs or that video of like the alien, how it just kind of walks by sideways and looking at the camera or whatever. It's kind of like, I think it was like a part Signs nightmare and in part, like what we'll get into, like part Freddy nightmare, or if you've seen the little known movie by the name of Curtains, the Canadian horror movie from the early 80s. So, but I didn't really think anything about it until I told Beth, and I'm like, she's like, God, did you have a nightmare about Freddy? And I'm like, oh my God, I might have had what very well might be my first nightmare with Freddy Krueger in it. But I kind of, to be fair, I'm not so sure it's Freddy Krueger, but as we'll get into when I talk about this, it's kind of interesting how it might have been Freddy Krueger. We'll get there. But all the dream was just, me looking down the hall, seeing the bedroom door open, and then this kind of figure maybe slowly walks by that's got this, Freddy-ish face. And the thing that's interesting about the face is I could tell that the individual was like wearing a mask. It looked like the mask from, as I already mentioned, Curtains. If you're familiar with the movie Curtains, even if you're not, I'll put a picture of the mask I'm talking about. Even the detail in the dream was even down to like the kind of, I think I want to say it's a more squarish kind of a neck. Like it's like this and like that and like this or whatever. And what's funny, I haven't seen curtains for years and years and years. So I don't even know why the dream would have that detail. But it was, I don't, I think in curtains the mask had hair. I'm pretty sure like in the dream, the scary mask that was kind of Freddy mask didn't have hair, but it had the neck that it was like curtains. So it kind of, said to me that this is just a person wearing basically a hairless mask, that's from curtains or whatever. But then I told Beth, and she's like, or was it Freddy? Or was it Freddy? And then I thought, yeah, that's a good point. And then I thought, well, maybe it was Freddy wearing a mask, wearing a mask from curtains to kind of try to trick me into, pretending like, okay, Freddy Krueger's going to haunt my nightmares or haunt my dreams or whatever, but he's going to do it incognito. He's not going to be his normal Freddy, sweater and normal burnt face and hat. He's going to go incognito. How can Freddy Krueger do that? Well, he can put on a Michael Myers mask, he can put on Leatherface mask, Pinhead mask. Nah, he's going to pick the mask from curtains. Who the hell's ever seen that movie? Not a lot of people. I've reviewed the movie in Blu-ray years ago, and honestly, maybe the reason that mask came up is because it's the kind of time, it's winterish kind of time of year, and me being an anal bastard in regards to seasonal and watching movies, I haven't seen Curtains for years, but I should probably rewatch it because it's like one of the winter, Canadian movies like Terror Train or, Black Christmas or whatever. So I kind of maybe been thinking, I don't remember really thinking of Curtains until after I had this nightmare, but that's all the nightmare consisted of. It was just this individual kind of walked by slowly, curtains mask with no hair and walked by out of sight. And the thing that woke me up is then I'm like, obviously I became curious or whatever, and I kind of slowly walked towards the bedroom, and that's where my, breathing increased in real time, not in the dream, but in reality, as I'm having this dream or nightmare or whatever, as I'm getting closer to the bedroom and getting closer to the danger or what's scary or whatever, I start in real life, breathing heavier, and that, I think that's what woke me up. Like if I breathe heavy enough or whatever, my own breathing heavy during a scary part of a dream and or nightmare or whatever will actually wake me up. So that wasn't a very long, dream or part of a dream or nightmare or whatever you want to call it. But what was funny, I didn't really think too much about it until, like I say, I told Beth, and she's like, well, maybe it is Freddy. And I didn't tell her, that it was, like, I told her that it was like a mask, like a Freddy mask. And then she's like, well, maybe it was Freddy. And I'm like, yeah, it could have been Freddy wearing a curtains mask. But I guess that's pretty much the video. Like, did I have for the first time in my life, nearly, it's only like 3 years away from being the 40th anniversary of me getting into the Nightmare on Elm Street films. Is that correct? 6, 7, 8? Yeah, it is. 3 years from now will be the 40th anniversary of me first seeing Nightmare on Elm Street 1 and 2 and possibly 3, 4, whatever. But it's just the first time in all these decades that I actually had a nightmare about possibly Freddy Krueger. And it's kind of a cheat, honestly, because, I mean, it's the mask from Curtains. But, talking to Beth, it kind of made me wonder, like, maybe it's Freddy incognito with a scary curtains mask with the hair ripped off. His way of saying I'm gonna go incognito and haunt this poor bastard's dreams, but I'm gonna do it where he's not gonna know it's me. It's not gonna know it's Freddy Krueger. And that's actually kind of an interesting idea for like a Nightmare on Elm Street movie. Him haunting people's nightmares incognito, like wearing different masks or pretending to be something else or whatever, but that way, it's kind of like the, whatever, I can't remember what the term was, but anyway, yeah, so, and then it occurred to me, well, another possible reason that I had that dream is I think just days before, Beth may or may not have been a sweetheart and gifted me this, this NECA Nightmare on Elm Street 3 Dream Warriors clothed Freddy figure with pull-up sweater to reveal Chest of Souls feature. Beth, I used to open these all the time and display them, but Beth, after I met Beth, it was like she doesn't, she's got it ingrained in her to not open the packages, so she's kind of got me to that stage, and it's kind of a bummer, but I, OCD or whatever, OCP as I like to call it, obsessive compulsive persuasion. But this, getting this just days prior to the nightmare might have been what caused the nightmare. But again, I mean, it wasn't necessarily a Freddy nightmare. It was like a curtains nightmare. But I thought I could do a cheat and like, kind of, well, I mean, Curtains is a movie too. So this is a movie review channel, or a movie enthusiast channel. So I'm like, yeah, this one might be kind of fun to share with the viewers. And did I have a dream? My first nightmare with Freddy Krueger. Kind of a cheat. It's more of a first nightmare with whoever's. What's scary is I don't know who the hell was under that curtains mask, and it's just like, that's why I was breathing so heavy as I was slowly approaching the bedroom where they're in, and that's the kind of dreams, like the most simple nightmares like that can just, either make me, scream or yell myself awake, or in this case, heavy breathe myself awake. They're really not, very, much to write home about in regards to if you just describe it to someone. But like I say, with the nightmares I'm, occasionally plagued with, it's kind of more the feeling about what's going on than actually what's going on. Arguably just this character walking by with this mask, into view and out of view isn't the most horrific thing you've ever heard of, but it's the feeling that the dream, that comes along with it in the dream, so I guess that'll pretty much do it. I may or may not have had a nightmare starring Freddy Krueger. I think it's kind of a cheat, more just, like I say, it's just like, who the hell was under that bald curtains mask is, yeah, feel free, while we're on the subject of curtains, to check out my review of I think I did a movie Blu-ray review of Curtains years ago whenever I first got the Blu-ray or whatever. But yeah, dreams are something, and if you're a dream person out there who likes to try to interpret dreams, feel free to let me know what the hell you think the dream meant or whatever. It certainly could have to do with being the Curtains time of year to watch the movie, or having recently been gifted, days before I had the nightmare, recently possibly been gifted this from Beth. It could have been either or both of those, or none of those, or who the hell knows what. But definitely a scary way to wake up. And now you know that huge movie fanatic Nate is plagued now and then with nightmares that either make me wake up screaming and or yelling or breathing heavily. Is that a side effect of watching horror films for decades and decades, ever since I was a kid? Possibly, but also maybe just a side effect of living life in this world that we're currently finding ourselves in. But it's interesting that I don't remember necessarily, it almost seemed like it when I got into my 20s or something, or maybe 30s, I can't remember. I think it maybe mid to late 20s is when I started having these things where, I'd scream and or yell or fast breathe myself awake. I don't remember having dreams or nightmares like that when I was, below the age of 25 or something. But I guess that'll pretty much do it for this video. Thanks so much for watching. Hope you guys enjoyed. And as always, we'll catch you on the next video.